I moved in with him, so it was no extra bills. All I had to do was just get married and pop out some babies. And I said, this is not
Damn.
my life. This is not what God birthed me to become. And
Wow. If that's not what God made put you on earth to become, then he would never have made you meet such a good guy that you claim he was. But this also goes back to, because I don't know if her parents are married. Because she talked about her dad so much, she didn't mention her mom. So clearly, if she didn't see the marriage or the dad being married, there is no way it was going to transform into her life. And even her dad told her she was too ambitious to be married. So that obviously didn't help the situation. But that's because the dad didn't raise her to be married. Because let's face it, guys, so many of us have come from single parent households and we don't know, we didn't see what marriage is. Some of you are from divorced houses. Even that has an impact on your psychic, because you're thinking marriage that isn't that important. If the people who brought me into this earth couldn't work it out and stay together, why should I get married? So if you meet someone who's good, eventually you're gonna sabotage that. And someone said, I think it was Anton Daniels, that most women, actually he said, not the exact words, but he said most women have met the man they were supposed to be married to and they let him go.
I knew I wasn't a housewife. I was like, I would not be happy as just somebody's wife.
Damn.
And having their kids. Like, there's just so much inside of me. And I decided I'm going to pursue this career that
Damn.
has no guarantee. Like,
Feminism.
literally, radio is probably one of the most unreliable careers you can bet on.
Yeah, I heard.
But it was like, I had to bet on me. And for a long time, I remember I used to think I used to be like, I chose my career over love.
You did.
The truth of the matter is, I didn't choose my career over love. I chose who I am. Like, this.
No, 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 no. She's trying to use so many words to make herself feel better. So many times we do things, and then after some time down the road, we realize whatever we did, whatever choices we did, they were not the right ones, right? So we come up with all excuses to play victim, or so many excuses to make us feel better about the wrong decisions we did. Because there are so many career women who are married and they have kids. So are you saying they did the wrong thing and you, the one who chose to choose your career over marriage, you did the right thing? You feel me? So if we have examples of ladies who are actually in their careers who have managed to be married and raise kids at the same time, how come you couldn't do it? And you claim he was a good man, so which means he was willing to understand where you, or maybe even work things out with you to see, what you can do in forms of career. Because clearly, the whole radio thing is not what you do currently. Currently, you do content creation on YouTube. You feel me? But this just goes to show, man, she's a big influence. So imagine all the young ladies who are listening to her, and currently they have good guys. They're gonna think, you know what? This is not for me. Let me leave and be like Kendra and pursue my career.
This is who I am, whether I was making $1 off it or not. This is who Kendra is.
So why you say it had to be a choice though?
Exactly.
What changed? What made it not work?
So what happened? Okay, I'm in radio. I ended up getting a job in Philly.
All right, you had to relocate.
I got fired from this job in Chicago. So now I had to relocate to Philly. And we were already kind of rocky because we were discovering, like, at that time, he was ready to, like, have children and get married, like, because he didn't want to be an old father, right? Yeah. And I was like, well, I'm not having your child until we get married. And so we were learning, like, okay, we don't really have the same alignment for life goals. And I knew if I took the job in Philly, it was a wrap. There was no way we were going to be able to survive another long distance relationship. And that's what happened. And I moved to Philly and our relationship did not survive.
How long y'all together from the day that y'all committed?
We were in college. So we started in college, and then I want to say we met probably like my sophomore year in college. You have, it's one of those, you together, then you're not together. Yeah. Then after, our engagement was like 3 years. Once we got engaged, it was like a 3-year process. So by this time, we really are just, because the thing is, he wasn't a bad guy and there wasn't like infidelity. It's different when you learn that, oh, I really love you, but we're just not on the same life plan.
Yes.
That's a harder, it's easy to leave a person if they cheat on you, if they're disrespectful. But when the love is real, but the life assignment isn't aligned, that's harder. So
honestly, I'm going to blame a little bit of feminism here, because feminism is what told them to choose their careers over marriage. But the issue I have with that is, look at what it's doing to the community. Look at what single parent households are causing to the community. You know, look at what it does to the kids. Because at the end of the day, now in her situation, she has no kids. But majority of women who are in her situation, who choose careers over marriage, over a family of mom and dad in the household, and they have babies, usually the kids get to suffer. So you can choose. So in her, I'll give her some grace. She chose a career over marriage and she has no babies. So that's good. She can only suffer the consequences by herself. But so many other people have kids, and then the kids get to suffer the consequences of their decisions.
But I had to go for what I know, right? And I took the job in Philly, and then that dissolved. And I remember I was really, really sad. But he ended up moving on. But I share this story because someone would say, this is like 20 years ago. And it's like, okay, 20 years later, you're still not married.
Yep.
You're still not a wife.
Yep.
Would you make that same bet? Would you make the same decision?
And I would say you would.
Absolutely, I would. I would have made it a day earlier because I had to choose me. Like, I am not going to suppress who I am just to be somebody's wife. Like you asked.
And I'm glad she did choose her. You know why? Because she's selfish. Because it would have been worse if she had actually accepted to marry that guy, to start a family with that guy, and then divorce his ass along the way because she's choosing herself. Because that's an excuse so many women who file for divorce use. I'm choosing myself. I'm not happy. I'm not happy, so I'm gonna divorce you and go on my own so I can be happy. Because marriage is not really just about happiness. Because remember, it's about other people. You have your husband, obviously, and if the kids come into the picture, it's beyond just about you. So I'm glad she made the choice, because she could have messed up the guy's life by divorcing him.
Me outside, you said, am I somebody's wife? I said, I don't know, and I'm okay with that. Like, if I don't get married, it will not.
No, tell him how that conversation came up.
Because he writing letters to ghosts. Because Latiris be writing letters to ghost child. Now, I thought we stopped having imaginary friends when we was in kindergarten, but now Latiris, he said, I'm about to write the letter to my invisible wife. I said, your wife?
I did not say
invisible. Okay, he said to his wife, I said, the invisible woman you ain't never. Personally, I don't think Latiris want to be nobody's husband, but, I think we might get to that part in the podcast. And I said, you writing letters to everybody know this woman but you. You done sat here, you've been around this world, around all these sensational women. He ain't trying to be nobody's husband, child. But,
I told her
that's my own theory.
I said she is not imaginary. She's a real person.
Yeah, everybody know but you. How everybody know your wife but you?
If we meet each other and it aligns and we say I do, then she became my wife. So she wouldn't be imaginary no more, would she?
Okay, this is your interview, so I'm going to respect that.
Talk.
Okay, but I have a question for you.
Have a conversation.
What are you looking for? Because most people don't have the opportunity that you have. You have the opportunity to associate with so many women, right? Which I really feel like is your disadvantage, because we're having so many choices. It's like you're trying to make this perfect person. It's like, ooh, I like her. She speaks well. Ooh, but I like her because she fine. Ooh, I like her. Her hair real. Ooh, I like her. She go to church the most. So you got like 5 different pieces of a woman, and you're trying to make it that one. So it's like, to me, I think your challenge is, focusing on one woman only and rocking out life with her when you have so many options. And I feel like that's the disadvantage. That's
a disadvantage most women have too, because one time a girl showed me her inbox and she had 500 messages from 500 different guys. Now I can guarantee you there were some guys who were short, there were some guys who were tall, some guys who had money, some guys who didn't have money, some guys who were in shape, some guys who were not in shape, some guys who were charismatic, some guys who were not. Because in 500 people, if you are the boyfriend or if you're one of the guys she's talking to, I mean, chances are it's not going to work out, because as soon as you do something she doesn't like, she's probably going to go in her inbox, choose a photo she likes, and then message that guy and then link up with that guy. So I can see where Kendra is coming from, saying this guy, the host of this podcast, that meets so many women and is struggling. But at the end of the day, most men, they might meet the women, but doesn't mean they actually interact with those women or like approach, which for women, they usually have the men approach them. So still, they actually have real options. The men, as men, unless you're like a Drake, like a big celebrity where women can slide in your DMs, the most of us guys, even if you might be social, you still have to approach those women. So still, he kind of has an advantage, but not really, because he still has to approach those women.
That's your challenge.
So my challenge is this. My challenge is, well, thank you for your assessment. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Kendra G. I'm not a person that gets caught up on quantity. And so I don't, it's because like I go to these events, host these events everywhere. I go to my hotel and by myself. It's not, I don't get caught up on quantity. Matter of fact, I look for quality. I literally look back and say, God, these letters that I've written is literally a blueprint to what I desire. So when I meet a woman, it don't take a long time for me to assess and discern if that's my wife or not. I liken it to an episode I did one day, and I was interviewing this lady named Siobhan and her husband Cheyenne. Mm-hmm. And while she was talking, tears started streaming down my face. And this was about a couple of years ago, because God revealed to me the sound of a wife. This is this other man's wife sitting right there, and they're talking, but I started crying. She said, why are you crying? I said, I can't compromise having a woman of God. And then she said, you don't have to. What's wrong? Because in my mind, in that season, I said, maybe what I desire, I'm looking for too much. And too much was it was basic. It was just literally, I want a woman that has the heart posture of God. A woman that when I'm in my moments of weariness, when I'm in these moments where I'm trying to figure out the next move, that she'll be able to put her hand on my shoulder and say, babe, you got this, and begin to pray for me.
And I think that's the minimum of what most guys are looking for. But because, just like Kendra did, she wanted to, she wasn't happy. She wanted to be herself, so she left a good man. And that's why men like him, they are scared of things like that. So I can guarantee when he listens to Kendra G's story of where she had a good man, but she left him because she wanted to choose a career, he's scared of meeting a woman and then she gets to leave him because of whatever dumb reason. So for him wanting a woman of God, I think most men who want women of God, they are hoping that the woman understands what God says about marriage, number one, but number two, that their faith in God will build their loyalty in the marriage, where it's so easy these days to file for divorce. Because you know how they say people get married in church in front of God and the pastor and every other person, but when it comes to divorce, there is no God in the divorce court, in the family court or divorce court. So she may be a woman of God, but as soon as she doesn't like something, she's gonna file for divorce, and there's definitely, God is not coming down to save you. She wants to leave, and I think that's why he's struggling. But for me, I would say go to church. But even then, it's not guaranteed that when she's not happy, she won't file for divorce. Anyway, man, shout out to this gentleman right here. His podcast is Dear Future Wifey. I'll link down below the full conversation with Kendra G. I just wanted to react to that Kendra G segment.